going to talk about some priority registration, since you guys get that as one of the perks of being an orientation leader. We're going to review some of the quizzes that we just gave back to you, and then we do have someone from the Office of Student Engagement coming today to talk a little bit about OSE. We do also then have a snack pack, and we owe you guys a few snack packs at this point. Yeah, I know. Okay, so Campus and Community Spotlight, the first one, if any of you guys are interested with the College of Business, they have donuts with the dean. That's free food. Never say no to free food. It is going to be tomorrow from 9 to 10. That's also in conjunction with their ASMSU senators. I mentioned that ASMSU is going to be doing their elections, so this is a great chance to meet the senators in the College of Business. We are also then we have a mentorship seminar that's hosted by the Women's Center. It's an opportunity for you to learn a little bit more about mentorship, especially with women in STEM. And that's going to be hosted on Wednesday as well, over the noon hour. Both of these are on the MSU calendar, so if you guys are interested, I would recommend that you go there to register. And then we do also have, if anyone has gone to the homepage, montana.edu, and you see a nice little smiling photo of a MSU English professor, that's this. It's You to You online lecture series. Essentially, she is an English professor, and she's going to be talking all about Shakespeare's relationship with Montana. Not exactly because Shakespeare ever came here, right? But more so about how the stories came over to Montana and how that has impacted the way that literature in Montana grew. And so kind of a unique perspective, I would say. This is a two-part series. This is part 2. It's on Thursday in the evenings after class. And so you can go online, it's via Zoom. But again, it's one of the main sliding banners right now on montana.edu. So you can always click in there as well. What other things are happening on campus that we want to highlight? Yeah?
Yeah, the highlight virtual fitness challenge is happening right now.
Fitness challenge?
Yes, there's more details on the Highlight Hall Instagram page. But basically, walk, ski, run, bike, however, 17 miles, which is the distance from Highlight Hall to Highlight Reservoir. You get the t-shirt.
That's a fun fact, by the way.
Fitness are going to help the maintenance for the park. The damage is largely caused by students.
Wow. That was beautifully presented.
Thank you.
Highlight Hall Instagram, check it out. Highlight Fitness Challenge. Tell you if you got all the steps. What else is happening on campus? Anything else you want to highlight? Besides the Highlight Hall Fitness Challenge? Yeah, Julie?
The election you were talking about?
The ASMSU elections?
Yeah, there were people standing outside and told me about someone that I was like, I had no idea what this is.
Yeah.
So,
So actually, the Office of Student Engagement is coming in later, so they can talk a little bit more about ASMSU, but it's the Associated Students of Montana State University. It's like student government, but they, I would say, handle some budgets and some things that are a little bit more high level compared to like a high school student government.
yeah.
So they handle the multi-million-dollar budget and they represent the student voice. They have a certain number of Senate seats based on the college. And so there's like 1 seat for the College of Nursing, for example, since it's a smaller college. There's like 2 or 3 for the College of Engineering. And so every single year, students essentially have to advocate for the student voice and apply to be a senator. And then they vote and we do elections and someone can get nominated to serve for that term. It's a great leadership opportunity and you learn a lot about campus. You get a lot of face time with like some pretty high up people. Has anyone been a senator and want to talk about it? Yeah, Isaac.
I was, what year was this? 2019, I was a senator for studies. There's like around 20 people in the seats, and that year we ran the budget for $1.2 million. And so it's like the streamline, it's and that's going to do like preschool, like they plus all those things. It's you should care about it because it's probably $40 that goes to it. And then they also like they're there to speak for you. So you know, like whatever's going on campus, like at the time, like if the building projects and stuff are all presented to them, they all
Thank you. All right, any shout outs? Do we have any shout outs? Yes.
Shout out to Tristan, who's not here, who's gonna take my headshot photo.
Tristan, even though he's not here, Sam. Yeah, go ahead.
Shout out to Claudia for doing a tour.
Nice tours, in-service points. Snaps for that. I have graded a lot more in-services recently, so appreciate that. Go ahead, Alex. Running for a position. Everyone should go vote for her.
You can't say that as a.
Oh, well, I'm
Personal
sorry,
school, you
but,
should not
you know,
say
in
that.
general, it's a great opportunity to support people in your area of study.
I'll say, go
No,
vote for
but
Ally.
like, that's like
Yeah.
really inappropriate.
Yeah.
I was gonna shout her out, but she beat me to it.
Shout out to Lauren and Trisha for doing tours together. Excellent in services. So many in services, all the shout outs. Yeah. You played dodgeball
Of
yesterday?
course, island leagues are so much fun.
Excellent.
Dude, volleyball is
Excellent.
doing one soon, you all should sign up for
Love it. Love it.
one.
All right, any other shout outs? Okay. At this time, I'm gonna turn it over to Amy. Let me pull up the AYCSS presentation here for you. Excellent. So Amy Lincoln is here. She can introduce herself, but she's our rep from the Allen Yarnell Center for Student Success. Please take notes. Please ask questions as you go. And then we'll have a little bit of time between our first presentation, our second presentation to cover some kind of like housekeeping items before we end out class. Perfect.
Now we'll put the microphone on and then I will be able to talk and still breathe through the mask. Hello, it is such a delight to be able to talk to you all. My name is Amy Lincoln and I am the Associate Director at the Allen Yarnell Center for Student Success and the Office of Student Success. And so my umbrella is all of the parts of the office that deal with anything to do with academics. So all of our academic supports fall under my umbrella, but I'm going to tell you about our entire office. Is there a clicker or just advance with the?
I was gonna say, we just use the arrows.
Perfect. And so the Allen Yarnell Center is actually made up of 5 big offices, or they seem big. There's a lot of people doing a lot of stuff in our office. And they're made up, so the Office of Student Success, that's the one I'm part of. We have the Office of Financial Education, we have career and internships, we have Return to Learn, and we have the Hillman Scholarship Program. So those are all individual offices within the Allen Yarnell Center. Just quickly, I'm going to talk about the bottom 2, which are smaller programs. So the Hillman Scholar Program is a group of 50 scholars that are recruited and administered. Scholarship is administered through the Allen Yarnell Center every year. And so 50 students are brought in from rural parts of Montana and given an opportunity for a fantastic scholarship, lots of supports, lots of opportunities. And they're seen and sort of go through the programming through the Hillman Scholarship for all of their 4 or 5 years that they're here at MSU. And so they have their own dedicated success advisors and program managers, but it's administered through the Allen Yarnell Center, and that's our Hillman Scholar Program. And then Return to Learn is our, I always think of it as a once a Bobcat, always a Bobcat program. And so for the students that leave MSU without a degree, when they want to come back, Return to Learn is the office that spends the time recruiting them back and then helping them answer all the questions so that they know how to fill out the forms, who to talk to, how to get connected with a new advisor, how to reassign to a new academic program, how to figure out how many credits they have if they've been gone for 10 years. So we've recruited back 9,000 students that have left MSU without a degree and brought them back. And through the scholarships that are available in the Return to Learn program, seen and supported them that they can get through and finish their degrees. And so, again, not super relevant for incoming freshmen and orientation leaders, but always good to know in the back of your head that there's a program out there in an office and people that are incredibly involved in recruiting back Bobcats that have left and meeting up with them when they're ready to come back and finish. Yeah.
Can I ask about what kinds of students are you reaching out to bring back? Because let's say a freshman shows up and they just think that like this is their one shot to do the thing, you know, like that one song, and they like just sort of end up dropping out of college and they're like, I can never go back, right?
Right.
How can we help these students know that like you should do the thing now, but if you need to leave, like there are resources for that, so don't be afraid.
Exactly the point. The once a bobcat, always a bobcat, and literally students have been gone a semester. And when it's a short period of time, we've gotten more involved in that lately. It's usually they can come a year or more. Although Return to Learn is getting more involved with students that have just stepped away for a semester. And you guys may or may not know that if you want to take, if you leave, if you just stop taking classes, or you don't even tell anybody you're leaving, if you just walk away from the university, in order to get back in, you have to fill out one form on the registered page. So it's not like a lot of students feel like if I leave, I'm going to have to reapply, I'm going to have to be reaccepted. If I've done anything in the meantime, it's going to count against me. Maybe if it didn't go well, those types of things, and that's just not the case. There's a form that needs to be filled out. You have to reassign yourself to whatever major it is that you want to be in. You get connected with a new advisor. You can apply for a scholarship, and then you get success advising, you get financial advising. You get career coaching, and you meet with those people regularly to kind of make sure that this is going to take this time to get help with through. Some people leave with like one class left. Some people leave with all their classes done and the paperwork for graduation not finished. And some people leave with a bit more. So Return to Learn, it's their job to reach out, help people understand what they can do to get back and finish. And those are not our three big, so I'm going to talk about our three big offices that interact with our incoming freshman population, and those are Success and Finance and Careers. Any other questions about Return to Learn or Hilliman? Thank you for your questions. I invite you guys to go ahead and ask them as they come up. And so in the success realm, we want to deal with anything that people need support with in regards to their academics. So individualized tools and resources that allow people to get where they want to go with their education. Any support through our office, and it is broad, and that's why these statements are broad. We're there to help. So this is the free t-shirt portion of the talk. And so these are some of the programs that we have in the Office of Student Success. Go ahead and shout one out, get a t-shirt, and I'm just so successful at this. Somebody pass it back.
Yo, what a time!
Wait a minute, no, no problem. So now you've got the t-shirt, which one do you want to hear about?
I think you said Smarty Cat.
Smarty Cat tutoring, and that's our tutoring program. I have a whole slide on it. But it's the people who, over 100 students, and then a hair tutor? Over 100 students that work in our office that do specific content, tutoring in the library and other places to do that. So that's Smarty Cats. Adventures MSU. And just so you know, I'm going to be passing people t-shirts that are going to be the wrong size at our office, literally they're right behind the desk. So if you go into the AYCSS, raise your hand if you know where AYCSS is. Thank you. It is down in the basement, sub 177. You can go in there and get the right size t-shirt. So let's walk this out. Adventures MSU is their incoming orientation program for freshmen. And so freshmen will sign up and have a 3-day adventure program prior to the start of classes. And so know that Rec Sports does expeditions, and then we do adventures. And so there is a little, they sound very similar. So just so you know, the Rec Sports stuff where they're canoeing and they're backpacking and they're doing those types of things is that program called Expeditions. And Adventures MSU is here. We float the Madison River on tubes. We go out to Highlight Youth Camp and do some kayaking on the Highlight Reservoir. We go to Rock Haven Camp and do the high ropes course and some workshopping out there. So those types of activities, and the students get to do an intensive 2.5 extra days prior to their past orientation or after orientation, whatever, that allows them to connect with other students.
Graduation help desk.
Graduation help desk. And so it's true that a lot of students will hit their stride, and by the time they're juniors and seniors, they're need for the academic support lessons. But there's a whole other group of students that as they become graduating seniors, there's still a lot of obstacles that need to be overcome that can kind of get in the way and cause people to falter or drop out. So graduation help desk is the group of students in the programming where we go and sort of evaluate students who we feel might still be at risk for non-completion or not staying. And we have success advisors reach out, make sure all the paperwork's in order, there's no barriers to upcoming graduation, to get emergency funds when there's financial emergencies that might be getting in the way, that kind of stuff. And so it is all the help that we provide to stabilize incoming students, but on your way out the door. Because we know that some of the things that can cause you to not finish are just as relevant as a senior than they are when you're starting out. So graduation help desk is that part of the program.
You want success advising?
Success advising is a group of part-time professionals who work with students on specific academic tasks that they can come in and work one-on-one and have a coach. An academic coach who can tell them how to study for things, how to get their things turned in, how to do time management, how to communicate with the professor in a way that is more likely to get the response that they're looking for, those types of things.
Academic success and career plan.
Academic success and career, who said that? Online in our portal, there's an academic success and career plan on the website. And it is a list of all the things that we think students should try or engage with that our office is offering that will help them sort of navigate this entire four-year process, from the incoming academic supports to sort of the hang in there and keep going in the middle to the here's what you need to finish, get your internships and find a job, interact with career fair, and it's an online sort of checklist that we provide that students can say, oh, I've tried this, I've tried that, this workshop, this opportunity.
Camp change.
Good. We'll start there on champ change and we'll keep going. There you go. Champ change is our frequent flyer miles for engagement at MSU. And so raise your hand if you know of a champ change thing, right? Okay. So you can get champ change when you go to the Math Learning Center, and we'll see. You can get champ change when you go to the gym and you swipe in. You can get champ change when you see any of our advisors. You can get champ change when you do stuff that is on, like the Office of Student Engagement, some of those programs offer champ change. And then with those, you get points. Those points go into your account, and you log them. And then on a sort of monthly basis and towards the end of the semester, you can use your points to bid on things. And so right now, like we've given away 20 sets of AirPods lately, because that's something that people have been bidding on. Currently, there's an auction going for like a Bose speaker, in-room Bluetooth thing that you can bid on. The big thing is a tuition credit. You give away $1,000 tuition waiver. And so what we want, and I have a slide for this coming up, is that students engage with the university in every way possible. And the more that they do that, the more they're incentivized. It is a gimmick, and we know that. Like we understand that it's champ change, and you go around swiping and you're getting your points. Some people are into it, a lot of people are not. But for incoming freshmen, if you have the opportunity to try these different things and kind of use that gimmick as a game to get involved and try stuff, every time they do that, they're of course connecting with some other resource on campus, they're connecting with some other student on campus, and the more they do that, the more they get plugged in and feel comfortable and are ready to sort of take on what's next. And so Champ Change is all about managing engagement. There will be more chances for t-shirts coming up. So success advising, you asked about our success advising program, and it's really very broad. I think of us as college concierge because a lot of times students will come in and they'll talk, well, I'm here because I had a staff referral from the dorms. Or I'm here because I'm in between my living situations. I'm kind of homeless right now and I'm not sure what to do and I've got my dog to worry about. I'm here because I absolutely failed my first exam. I'm here because my professor thought I could use some resources. It really doesn't matter what the question is when students come into success advising. It's the success advisor's job to advise one-on-one and give them whatever resource they need to move them to the next step and help them figure out what they need to do. Part of it is dealing with sort of the hidden curriculum if they don't know how to drop a class, if they don't know how to navigate something on the registration website, if they don't know when that registration deadline might come, or how to find who their advisors are. Any of these types of questions, they can talk to success advisors about that. And then success advisors talk so much about time management and getting people's calendars in line. We have a lot of students that have difficulty following through with their assignments. Like they're just like, I just keep, things are slipping my mind, I'm not getting things done, I don't understand how to use D2L. All of those things, the success advisor will walk them through one-on-one and make sure that they have what they need and they can move on. Any sort of study skills, just knowing who they are as a learner, realizing what they need for that next piece to be more academically successful, getting some advisement on that, and then moving on. Sometimes people will see success advisor once and they'll kind of go, and other people will meet with the success advisor every week for quite a while.
How much of success advising is just redirect?
We try to do as little redirecting as possible. We try to get questions answered in the room. So when a student's like, I think I'm gonna drop below this course, I don't know how to drop my class, I don't know how, if I'm gonna get kicked out of the dorms because I'm below a full-time thing, will I still have my insurance? Will I be able to do that? All of those questions that might be very complex when they're just thinking, can I drop chemistry and keep the rest of my classes? And the success advisor will call these offices with the student in the office and say, hey, you know, here's the student, here's our questions, and then we'll make sure that those questions get answered in room, rather than saying, go over to Montana Hall, see what's gonna happen out there, you know, let me know how that works out. We try to avoid the bouncing around as much as possible, because students do get a lot of redirecting, and then a lot of time the offices they redirect them to don't have that answer, and then they have to start from scratch again, so we try to minimize that as much as possible. Yeah.
Oh, where's this located?
Success advising is in the Allen Yarnell Center. Right now during COVID, a lot of the success advising is happening through WebEx, but we have the consultation rooms right there in the fall. It'll be in person and in Zoom. And there'll always be an online option as well. I think moving forward, online is here to stay. So if that's preferred, students can do it that way, where they can meet the person in the office. What other questions? No. Think of it like a personal trainer for college. You know, they're there, they have the equipment, they have the advice. If you come in with, you know, an intent to use it and get the most out of it, they can be really helpful to help you get the most out of your experience, whatever might be happening in class. So that is success advising. Smarty Cats tutoring, as I mentioned, we have over 100 tutors that cover over 200 classes. The Smarty Cats do their tutoring on the second floor of the library. There's a special little niche there in the second floor that you go upstairs and go around the corner. You can see the Smarty Cats area, and the students currently are tutoring face-to-face there. There's also doing WebEx tutoring as well. And so going to the Smarty Cats portal online, students can do that. It's $2 for a one-on-one session. The drop-ins are always free. Most students, and especially freshmen, they get coupons to try it out for free. So it's very, very affordable. And it is more than homework help as well. It's not always just come in and this is something I'm stuck in, this particular problem in math. Can you help me solve it? A lot of people think tutoring is that. We know that our tutors do a lot more. They can help students talk about how to sort of manage their plan for how am I going to get through this? How am I going to ramp up to this next midterm? How am I studying? How am I understanding the lecture notes? How can I review the lecture notes? How can I approach the professor? How do I approach this information? Tutors are there to help with all of that. So when you're talking to your students and encouraging them to take advantage of this stuff, just know they don't have to have one burning question that they're coming in to have answered. They can come in with a more general sort of, I would like to have some better understanding of the blank. Can you help me work my way through it? And tutors are keen to do that. Anything else you can add about tutoring?
I don't know. It's fun. I mean, like, I've had tutors and I've been a tutor, and for me, I'm just incredibly casual about it because we're all just there to learn.
Yeah.
It's fun, and I try to make it fun. I use jokes.
Right, and with so many students feeling like they're isolated and not meeting other students in the freshman year, we always say, go see a tutor. Like, here's somebody else who's just a built-in study buddy who you can just talk to and kind of work through things together in a time and a place. It's a great opportunity to be like that. Again, you don't have to have like, well, I failed my first midterm and now I can't do this, so I need a tutor. No, just take the opportunity to connect and just get a little more out of the class.
How do we encourage students that were like the overachievers in high school, that it's okay to take services, like?
Yeah, and that's one of the things, and a lot of times we find that students that have had a very easy time in high school will have that stumble, and it kind of hits them as a surprise because they're not used to dealing with it, and it's good to have someone just help them sort of manage expectations if things are a little bumpy, but things, if they're not a little bumpy, they can get an advantage. And speaking of it that way, like, why would you not take the opportunity to go out, meet another student who wants to talk about this too, who's interested in this topic, and is a bit of an expert, and they get that advantage, like, why wouldn't you? And then we find that people who use tutors will eventually become tutors, and so we want students that are very good in the material, can experience tutoring and say, this is great, I really enjoy this interaction, I'm gonna go ahead and be a tutor as soon as I'm done with this course and take that opportunity. So high-performing students can be a great person to sort of get into the tutoring pipeline. You can figure out how to be a tutor right there on the website at AYCSS OSE. You can apply right there. It's a great college job where you can kind of set your own schedule and be a little bit here and a little bit there and work with people at your own convenience. So that's Smarty Cats tutoring. Let me talk about our career office. How are we doing?
It's about 5 o'clock, but you have a few more minutes for the next people.
Great. So career and internship services are all about getting a job, both here on campus, and then it's about thinking about your internships and then thinking about the career and the job that you're going to have when you leave college. We really want you, from the very get-go, incoming freshmen, thinking about what am I majoring in? Am I truly engaged and excited about this? What can I do with this major? And then what is the progression of things that I need to do now while I'm in college that I can just hit the ground running, ready for that job at that career fair my senior year, so I can get that lined up on my way out the door. And so there's an entire plan about the early stage of thinking about work and how you're going to engage with the work environment, what your values are, how you're setting goals for that, setting up your first internship experience. We recommend that every student, leave college with, 2 or 3 internship experiences, that you go early to career fairs so that you have an experience about what that is about. And then the career services are there to help with all aspects of that entire progression, from the major exploration and value exploration early on at any point, and then deciding what the path is moving forward. What questions do you have about any of these programs or t-shirts?
Dine and Discover.
Dine and Discover. And so, thank you. So Dine and Discover is a workshop program where the careers team and professionals talk just about that. It's like, if you can't imagine, like, I don't know where to start. I'm not sure, like, what all is even possible out there. The Dine and Discover is a chance to come in and listen to business professionals, talk about what is possible in the particular industries, to talk about the career professionals, talk about internship opportunities, and then the steps you would need to take to move on to the next thing. So it's a workshop series that's designed to get people thinking about those next steps.
I guess I have a more specific question, but like with Higher Ed Bobcat, like how successful have students been with like finding internships through that?
In order for a employer that goes through, like the 100 employers or 150 that it was that were at the most recent career fair, for them to be at the career fair, they need to post all of their internship and professional positions on Higher Ed Bobcat. And so I don't have the exact statistics on exactly how successful they are, but there's a lot on there, and a lot of students connect with them through the Higher Ed Bobcat platform.
So you mentioned that, but like half like the company that I talked about the career fair weren't looking for internships for the summer.
Right. And so I would connect you then with our career coaches to have them specifically do, and then when you make an appointment with the career coach and say, I need to find an internship in this field, then they will go ahead and do the research and start like bringing those opportunities. And so when they meet up with them, they have some opportunities available for you to talk about and to consider when you meet.
Okay.
Yep.
Where's the call?
Dan?
Diversity policy.
Diversity Coffee is part of the career fair series. For the t-shirts, you guys can pick them up on the way out. And it specifically brings a diverse population to talk one-on-one with the employers over, coffee hour. And we may invite particular students to come in and have that, more one-on-one with the incoming employers, so they have an opportunity to ask their questions. And etiquette dinner is a dinner where you get seated at a big round table in the ballroom. Everybody dresses up in professional dress, and it's sort of a dinner interview. And so we bring professionals in to sort of interview and talk to the students during the etiquette dinner. You're served a formal meal, so you know how to do the bread with the bread knife and the soup with the spoon thing and the napkins and all of those sort of etiquette things that you would have at a professional dinner. Or a recruitment dinner that you might have an opportunity to go to for a scholarship or for an internship or for a job. And it kind of just walks you through the actual etiquette of how to do a professional dinner, as well as have sort of an in-person interview during that dinner, and then you're there with a table full of fellow students, and then as well a professional from the community. Yeah.
What's the executive closet?
Executive closet is a lot of people donate to the university professional sport coats and ties and dress shoes and dresses that you can take an interview in. So I know a lot of students want to do an interview, but they don't have the extra money to go out and buy professional wardrobe. And so we collect these items, and then students will have to come in and pick whatever they need in advance of career fair, and you can get dress up and get free professional wardrobe. Yep.
Bobcat mentoring.
Bobcat mentoring is graduated professional business people in the community volunteer to come in and then mentor a younger Bobcat. So you sign up for the program and then you become matched. And so that person might be in the engineering industry and they might have 30 years experience. And so you have like a young engineer coming up, and then you have that professional to talk to, and you can talk to them like, how did you get into the industry? How did you decide what aspects of engineering you were interested in? How has your career evolved? And you have that person to talk to that allows that you have somebody with 30 years experience in a field that you're interested in and yourself, and they can give you that professional advice and help you do that leg up in networking. Yes.
With Hire a Bobcat, has that changed to Handshake? Should we still direct to Hire a Bobcat? How's that?
Hire a Bobcat is still Hire a Bobcat powered by Handshake. And so the platform has changed because Handshake is the app sort of that runs it, but it's still at that Hire a Bobcat is still the logo and the name. And that has like jobs that are like on campus and off campus for like in school, as well as some internships, as well as jobs for after school. Yeah.
I know some different colleges offer kind of like a career program and stuff like that. How there's someone building the college stuff like that. Do you recommend students go to you guys or go to the like college kind of breaking down the?
Yeah, there are, and just like with the tutoring, like there's academic help centers, so there's different aspects of finding tutors. There's success advisors in the business college, success advisors in the engineering college, bureau success advisors, and all of that. And that's true as well with an individual college. I would say the more questions you ask, the more answers that you have, and the more opportunity you have to zero in on real opportunities. And so honestly, I would take the opportunity to meet with both. Yeah. Because they will have different insights depending on how they're approaching it. And so you might find one opportunity at one that the other one wouldn't have, and it might be an extra thing. And then you'll also have that sort of advice from two different people. So the career coaches, they're just like success advisors. They're professional people that help students go through and have conversations about these topics. They can talk about, again, career development. They can critique your resume, send your resume in, and they'll look over it. They'll tell you what they think that they could change so you can make a bigger impact with your resume. They run the career fairs and networking events like the diversity coffee that we talked about. They will do mock interviews with you if you're getting ready for a big interview for something. They will do a mock interview and then give you sort of a debrief and kind of put you through the paces and kind of make you sweat a little bit in the room so that you get sort of your game on for bigger interviews. So you can make those mistakes in a mock interview before you go into the real one. They do LinkedIn headshots every week, so you can come in and have a professional headshot taken if you need it for the LinkedIn profile, and those are free. Trailheads MSU is like our Adventures MSU program. It's another students incoming. They do the same activities with the Float the Medicine and all of that, but their workshopping is about career issues rather than workshopping that we do about academic issues. So the Adventures is workshopping on academics and the transition to college, whereas Trailheads is like workshopping about the career questions. And then there's a whole host of inventories that you can take if you're like, I don't know what I want to do, I don't know what I'm interested in. The career coaches walk through a bunch of different inventories with people to help people sort of begin to answer those questions. Any question about career coaching? The final of our big three office is the Office of Financial Education. Raise your hand if you've ever met with Keith. Yeah, we love Keith. And so Keith is our senior financial advisor, and then he has a colleague by the name of Jennifer White-Dobbs, and she works there as well. And it's helped students think about all those things that have to do with school. And so from the very beginning, it's how am I paying for college? What do I need to think about? And how do I take care of it in a way so I don't have to worry about it at all? Understanding your financial aid, it's very complicated, who your loan people are, what you need to worry about, when you need to worry about that, how to manage your budget while you're actually in school, understanding credit and how to build credit while you're in school so that you have that available to you to use. You understand how you gain and lose credit, searching for scholarships through CAT scholarships and the workshops, and then even talking about financial planning into the future, even thinking about retirements and investments. They talk to students about those things as well. So the Office of Financial Education is there to help students with all aspects of dollars and cents while they're in school. We're separate from the Office of Financial Aid. Office of Financial Aid is the official thing that gives out the loans, and this is the Office of Financial Education. They really are educators just to talk to students about the ideas and the details behind all of those things to sort of understand. And they can do things as simple as like, I don't understand how to confirm my bill, to can you help me manage a savings plan that I can use to manage to make investments that I can start thinking about my retirement and think they run the gamut. And they're there to talk about all those topics. These are some of the programs specifically and the workshops that are available in the Office of Financial Education. Any questions about any of these? Yes? So the know your debt letters, we know that there is a metric of, if you're getting a particular degree in a particular field, there is a certain metric for how much loan it's wise to take out so you're not overburdened by student loans by the time that you're done. You don't want to have so many student loans by the time you finish that you're sort of in a field where you can't pay those loans down without them being a burden. And so when students have beyond this sort of metric, when we do the math and say, hey, they're in their fourth semester and they've already accrued this much in student loans, and we expect that they'll probably be making about this much when they're done and graduated, that's a lot of loans to have at this point. It means that they might get a debt letter. And that debt letter will help make them aware of the metric, like here's where we see that you are, this is where we expect you will be, here are some opportunities to change that trajectory so you don't have to take out so many loans, here's your other options. And it helps people manage their debt so that as they leave school, they leave with a manageable amount of loans that they can pay off in a comfortable way, that it's not going to sort of saddle them with that financial burden too far in the future. Yes?
This question goes for all of what you guys do, but is this only available to students in fall and spring semesters, or is it also offered as well?
Yeah, it's pretty much 9 to 5 every day, all the time. During breaks and everything like that, we're always working. So as you know, when the university is open, there's someone there answering these questions. Yep. Anything? All right. So I think I covered most of these for the Office of Financial Education. We do a lot of workshops, like a salary negotiation. So we're working into getting that job about how to negotiate your salary and evaluate your worth and explain that to people. They do meal planning on a budget. They haven't been doing it during COVID, but they will use one of the kitchens out in the dorms and then show how you can make, reasonably priced meals on a budget. They run a great workshop on Scholarships 101, introducing students how to apply to CAT scholarships and what that's about and how to identify how that's working, and lots of good workshops coming out of the Office of Financial Education. We talked about Champ Change, and again, it is that engagement piece where you just can swipe and get the opportunity to earn points. Again, it's a gimmick, but it's a good gimmick. If it's that thing that gets you to go out and try something new that allows you to connect with somebody or something, that enhances your experience here at MSU and it makes you want to feel like you're getting it and you're involved. You guys are also plugged in as orientation leaders. You know how that it just gets better. The more that you do and the more that you try and the more you go out. And Champ Change is to get students to try it. Yeah.
Just a quick question about the meal planning on the budget. Is that just on hold for right now until the joint sessions and all that?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we couldn't figure out a way to cook a meal without masks on. And then, do that. So it is on hold, but it will be picking back up in the fall. And so this is just a little data slide to show how true that this is. So in our Champ Change, this was back from 2017, but it's very true. We just, in one semester, we had these are students that had 0 engagements with their cat card swipe. So they didn't swipe in at the gym, they didn't see any career coaches, they didn't see any success advisors, they didn't go to the MLC. And after fall semester, only 36% of them were back. And then if you come to this end of the chart, here's students that had 20 plus of these swipes over their first semester. And then you can see that 84%, 85% of those students were back in the spring. And that data is just meant, the takeaway really is engagement matters. So as you guys as orientation leaders, I know you have so many different experiences, this whole shout out that you guys started with, you're so aware of the things that are going on with campus, but we know from a data standpoint that the more that students try, the better they do, the more fun they have, the more plugged in they are, the better their academics are, and the more they're wanting to stay and finish their degrees. So the more you try, the better it is. And then finally, everything I talked about is available on the AYCSS website. You can register to see a career coach or a success advisor. You can get your tutors on the website. You can see the financial educators. All of our appointments are on there. We have a whole nother program of peer mentors called Catalyst Mentors. They're like super tutors. So for students that want to talk study skills, but they want to talk to a peer, but it's not specifically about chemistry or math or sociology, you can meet with a Catalyst mentor, and then that student can help you with your academics, but just more on the general sort of like, this is what I do. So that program is available there. So everything's available on our website. Any final questions for me about AYCSS and all that we do? I hope you guys take advantage of it. I hope you can encourage your students as you orient them to all the opportunities throughout their entire sort of college progression that's there for you. And please reach out if you have questions. Always happy to. And t-shirts for anyone who stops by. I will leave them at the
Thank you, Amy. Awesome. We are going to slide right into our next presenter. I see him, the man, the myth, the legend, over here. Let me download your presentation here really quick. Thanks,
Howdy.
And we'll, similar to other presentations, we'll put the AYCSS presentation on D2L2. So if there were any programs you want to know more about, obviously you can always contact them or check out that slide too. So at this time, we'll have Nick here introduce himself and introduce himself, and he will do the presentation on the Office of Student Engagement. Nick was an orientation leader for 3 years. Yeah. 3 years. He can talk about how the Office of Student Engagement also ties into orientation as well, because he has a lot of experience in both of those.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nicholas Edberg. I'm the Marketing and Public Relations Director for the Office of Student Engagement. So I handle all their marketing, so like Facebook, Instagram, video production, pictures, graphic design. There's no slide for the marketing team in this presentation, which is kind of lame, even though I put it together. So I didn't give myself a slide. But all the pictures and stuff are from the marketing team. But outside of that, yeah, I was an orientation leader. I did research in the sociology department. I'm currently a TA for computer science department. Oh yeah, I'm a dual degree computer science and criminology, and this is my final year here. So, and then I do like Army ROTC and a bunch of club stuff. So if you have questions about what the Office of Student Engagement does, because I'm going to go through kind of like all the big stuff that they do. There's like a bunch of other random stuff that we handle, like club graphics and helping clubs with events and a bunch of like smaller stuff. So if you have any questions about like weird things that the office does that's integrated with different parts of campus, or like I'll talk specifically about, because this presentation is what I give to students at like MSU Fridays and Saturdays and orientations. It's just straight up this presentation, I think, unless it's a different one, who knows? Oh yeah, we usually play a game of Would You Rather. I don't know if you want to go for it.
Yeah, do it.
All right, this is going to require some audience participation. We're going to play a game of Would You Rather. So how this will work is I'm going to go, would you rather attend a concert or go to a movie? So if you'd rather attend a concert, stand up. It's kind of lame. You're in the Procrastinator Theater and you're disrespecting it like that. So you'd rather go to a concert. That's a picture from like 2 years ago, end of year concert.
I'm in the front row.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't see me, but I'm in there.
Yeah. Would you rather join a political club or join a club sport? So stand up for political club. It's more than, MSU Fridays get. I always make the joke that you could start a political club sport. Be kind of aggressive. It might work though. Would you rather go rock climbing or go kayaking? So stand up for rock climbing. This is also usually where I tell new students that they'll all be rock climbing in like 2 months, because that's what Bozeman does to you.
Yes.
Changes you, makes you into upper body beast. Would you rather go to trivia night or go to a hypnotist show? Stand up for trivia night. This is an older presentation. Because we usually mention Singo here. Which has anybody ever played Singo? Let's go. I think it might be like a Bozeman only thing, because nobody I talk to that's not from Bozeman has ever done it, and rarely people in Bozeman ever have done it, but it's a thing. Would you rather get paid to be a student DJ or get paid to write for the student newspaper? Stand up to DJ, some awesome Spotify playlists. Hit it up. Taylor Swift. What was it? What's the Miley Cyrus song classic that always plays? Volunteering at spring break on the Oregon coast or volunteer in Puerto Rico in May. So would you rather stand up for Oregon? That's way more than any MSU Friday has ever gotten for Oregon.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if it's that it specifies over spring break or if it just Puerto Rico's a little cooler. Would you rather go to a comedy night or an art show? So stand up for comedy. Chris, you're sitting for all of these. Are you just not into it? Cool. So generally, all of those things are something like our office has done. So either events or things they've helped with in the past. A lot of them look different this year, obviously, because there's a lot of stuff we can't do. You can't have a concert with like 1,500 people there, and like movies look different. All those kind of things. But generally, the Office of Student Engagement has 4 main components, and that's student government, student organizations, so clubs, community engagement, which is volunteering, and then programs and campus events. And so those are like the 4 main components, and they kind of cover a lot. So the first one I'll talk about is the Associated Students of MSU, or ASMSU, which is your student government on campus. Okay, this is an old presentation, which obviously those are not your student body elected officials right now. Kind of funny, elections are happening right now, so if any of you orientation leaders are interested in representing your student body as a student body senator or as a student body president, who knows, you can apply right now and run. But at MSU, how I like to compare it is for a lot of people, I don't know, was anybody in student government in high school? None of you? Did you guys do like prom? Or like, what are the dances and stuff? Yeah? What do you guys do? Did you guys do something cooler? Ooh, that's kind of lit. Usually it's like prom and like the dances and stuff. But for student body government here, the senators manage like $1 million budget of these fee programs, which stole their presentation. So they manage all these student fee programs. Would they denote like how much money like my program gets, program campus events, but like rec sports and fitness or outdoor rec, those are programs that get money directly from ASMSU, and it's based off your student fees that you pay every year. But so student government is super important because it's those elected officials that are denoting how much money like the preschool gets, or how much money outdoor rec gets to hire a certain amount of employees, student employees, that kind of stuff. So student body senate, super important, and they're elected officials based on like their college population. So I don't know, who can tell me which college is the biggest? Letters of science?
I taught him something.
Wow. No. So they have the most senators. I think it's 7, which College of Engineering also has 7. So they're pretty close. But those officials kind of, they sit and they vote on these kind of things. Not only that, but like there's practical and physical applications to this, which is like the rock climbing wall in the fitness center was a student-led initiative through student government, along with the turf field out by Yellowstone. So those are like physical kind of manifestations of what student government can do. So if you're looking for, if students are interested in student government, and this is also something I'll talk about in clubs, but sometimes students ask about like debate clubs in college, which we don't actually have a debate club or anything like that. Student government's a good way to go because like all those kids were in debate at some point. And it's a cool way to actually apply yourself and make change on campus. Not only that, Streamline's a big one. What's that?
Sorry. If students are like, yeah, I think I want to do the next year or something, like, how much commitment is it?
Yeah, so student body senators, they essentially commit an unknown amount of time every Thursday from 6 p.m. to whenever Senate ends, which they were taking bets last week because they had a ton of stuff going on and it ended at like 9 p.m. But generally, it's like 2 to 3 hours of Senate time on Thursdays, and then they have an office hour every week. Senators aren't paid. Justices, I don't think are paid unless you're the head justice. And then execs are paid, so student body president and vice president, along with any of the student directors, which I'll talk about a little bit more for each program. But generally, the time commitment for senators is like 2 hours for Senate, 1 hour office hours. And then it's really dependent on how engaged they are, because they can go to a lot of like specific events with their college or other events through the university. But that's like the bare minimum is like probably like 3 hours a week. Well, I was talking about Streamline. Streamline is partially funded through ASOSU, and it's an awesome service because it's free for MSU students, but free for the community too. It's a big one to hit for students who may not live on campus, is that Streamline is an option. And actually right now, they're going through talks about expanding it across Bozeman, so it could look a little different in the coming years, which is probably pretty good. Also, late night Streamline, always mention it because it's a party for all the students studying downtown, late at night, 9 p.m. to 2 a.m., Thursday through Saturday. Community engagement's the next pillar that I'll talk about, and that's all the volunteering stuff we do through our office. And I like to focus on the fact that it's super easy for office to volunteer, and that's like the hardest part about volunteering is finding who to talk to, like who do you actually volunteer with, setting up times, showing up, and like actually finding the volunteer opportunity. We'll make it super easy. You just have to show up at the sub on the first Saturday of every month. Because we host service Saturdays every month. It's like 9 a.m. on Saturday, and we make it super easy. You just show up. We already have picked out like 7 or 8 different volunteer opportunities. Maybe like working at the food bank, an animal shelter. There's just a bunch of different ones. Huh?
Habitat for Humanity.
Habitat for Humanity is a big one. And so we make it super easy to get involved. And a lot of people, at least people I know, start out volunteering through Service Saturday and then continue volunteering outside of Service Saturday at these programs. And then that flows into if you're interested in nonprofit work, working for those. Big one that doesn't really work right now is Breaks Away, which is our spring break trip. I like to hit it just because it's a good one. This is an extended service trip, and they generally travel out of state. Obviously not happening right now, but we're looking at continuing it soon. This is a video. Who knows what it'll look like? Oh, at least it's like moderately updated. 2018. It's not a good year for this event, let me tell you. Because there's like 25 of us, and there's like 110 cans of paint. Is this like the max volume?
Do you just like really want to jam out or something?
You guys aren't vibing enough for me, and it's just really hard. So anyway, that's another big one is you can't see anything, so that's cool. I got it. We're good. We're just going back through. You guys, y'all can write this down for your notes and everything. So, Rockin' the M, big one for freshmen, just because it's generally targeted towards freshmen. Did anyone ever do this event? Pretty fun, right? It's usually a lot bigger than that year I did it. This was like 2019. But you just carry cans of paint up the side of the M and refresh the paint on the side. That's super fun for freshmen because you get to know a bunch of your peers. And for a lot of them, this is the first time they've ever hiked the M. So it's a good way to get them introduced to that. It's Convocation Service Saturday, which is the first service Saturday of every month, or not every month, every year.
Here I am, right there. Oh, that's famous. Thank you.
So yeah, Convocation Service Saturday is usually like twice as big as a normal service Saturday. Obviously, these look a little different this year, as I keep saying, but for Service Saturday, it hasn't really changed a lot outside of there's smaller groups per kind of like volunteer opportunity, but there's supplemented by having more volunteer opportunities, just smaller group sizes for each one. So it generally doesn't look like that, but there's still a pretty good amount of people. Next one, super biased towards, because I used to hang out with them and help throw awesome events. But it's programs and campus events, and these are the guys who throw like all of the events that happen on campus through our office. And so they host over 50 events every year, and those are things like the concerts, the comedy nights, academic speakers, Singo, trivia, all that kind of stuff. Currently, there's like a ton of stuff in the works. There's a diversity, they're like, what are they? They host an NPR podcast speaking on diversity next Monday. There's a Singo coming up. There's like a bowling competition coming up. So there's a ton of events still happening this year. A lot of them look a little different. Like, did we go ice skating? The ice skating rink? Yeah, so the ice skating rink was an event put on by them. Then we go to the live music ice skating rink. So it was pretty lit. There was one planned for this Friday, but it got kind of tropical here in Bozeman, so ice skating rink is now cool. So there's still a ton of events happening right now. Half of them are pretty much virtual, so that's like the trivias. We've done like a Bachelor trivia. There's a Star Wars trivia coming up. But so a lot of the events are online, but a lot are still happening in person. They're just like max capped at 25 and also a little bit more spread out. But during a normal year, there'd be a lot bigger events like the comedy nights, hypnotists, speakers, and concert. But right now, most of the focus is on either creating like super engaging virtual events. So that's like the academic speaker. There was like a cooking show at one point, things like that, or focusing on like socially distanced spaced events, either outside or in bigger rooms. But so the focus here is that events are still happening. They just look a little bit different, and that during a normal year, there's super sick ones like this one. So far I've covered community engagement, which is volunteering, student government programs, campus events. Does anybody have any questions about those 3 sections? For the most part, their implications at orientation are generally student government will be on campus and elected at that time. They don't really have a lot of integration. Sometimes student body president is involved with some presentations and stuff like that. Student organizations, which I'm talking about right now, sometimes have a play. I don't know, there's sometimes a club fair, that kind of stuff. Or like they might be integrated that way. Most of the stuff we'll talk about that's more in play at orientation are like MSU debut at the end. But that's kind of like an amalgamation of like all of it. It's just like thrown in there for MSU debut. But so student organizations, big one for a lot of students because we have over 270 different student organizations. So that includes academic like disciplines, so like sociology club or like computer science club, or fraternity and sororities are included in there. There are also like hobbies or interest groups, so like Bobcat Motorsports, or up here we got Big Sky Timber Sports, they cut wood like really fast and throw axes. Polo Club and Backcountry Club. So there's like a ton of different clubs, like I said, over 270. So generally, there's probably a club for you. I like to mention Sandwich Club or Sandwich Eating Club, because they exist, they're a thing, or at least they were. Who knows, there might be a secret society at this point. But, so that's just to point out that there's generally a club for pretty much anybody who's looking. And if there isn't a club, or you haven't seen one that you like, you can start one. Right now, due to COVID, it's like half the required amount you need. So you no longer need 10 students to form a student organization, you only need 5 and a faculty advisor. And if you can't find a club or you can't find people to join your club, the people I would recommend you talk to are SEGAs, which are Student Engagement Global Ambassadors. They're student leaders just like you guys. Some of them are orientation leaders or were orientation leaders. They're either club leaders, studied abroad, did research, or like TAs somewhere on campus. So they're student peer leaders that have been through the system and like done that kind of stuff. And I would definitely connect students with them if they're interested in like study abroad and stuff, because study abroad is generally like a pretty complex or daunting thing to look at first, because it's like, where do I want to go? What kind of program do I want to do? All that kind of stuff. But they've been through the system, so they're like, oh, like I went here and I talked to them. This is the program I did. But it's the same with like clubs, because they're the ones who hook you up with helping search through the club list, which is on Cats Connect, which I'll talk about after this. Both searching through the club list, maybe finding other people who are interested in your club. But for the focus of orientation students, I would just say we have a ton of clubs, and generally there's a club, if you're interested in one, you can look it up on Cats Connect, which I think is my next slide. Yeah, so you look at clubs on Cats Connect, that's where the club list is. And if it doesn't exist, the best person in our office to be connected with is probably a SEGA, because they can get you into the kind of like looking for a faculty advisor and looking for other members to start a club. Cats Connect, has anybody used it? Should be like a lot of you. Because all of the student orgs, offices, and departments put their events on Cats Connect, as well as that's where like the club list is. So if you're ever looking for something to do on like a Friday night, and we generally encourage people at like orientation or MSU Fridays to take a look at Cats Connect just to see what's going on there. Because you can sort by date, you can sort by like free food, which is a big one. Generally freshmen aren't as interested in free food as you guys are, but they will be at some point. Miller only lasts like 3 months, but.
And online orientation is on that.
Yeah. So it should be pretty big and students should be familiar with it, at least in some capacity. Cork is the app that they use at all of our in-person events to sign people in. They'll probably install that if they go to any events, but kind of preface that by saying you can get it now because it does have the same list as Cats Connect with all the events. So if you're ever wondering what's going on a certain day, you can check that out. Yeah, so it's a great one for you as orientation leaders to be familiar with, just because then you can help students find stuff on there. So if they're asking about clubs, you can easily search through it, as well as like just in general, all the offices and sonorities will post their kind of information on there. The last part I'll talk about is MSU debut, and this isn't like directly our office, but our office does handle the majority of like the planning for it and like connecting other offices, because there's a ton of stuff that happens in this. During a normal year, there's like 15 to 20 events that happen over the course of 3 to 4 weeks at the beginning of the year. So I was described as like the extended welcome week for MSU. And there are usually events like Catapalooza, which is a big one, probably the biggest one. Oh man, the picture's so cool now. Catapalooza, movie on the wall, Hot Springs Pool Party used to be one. There's a ton of different events, usually like a different style event for each person, like Hypnotist, Comedy Night, movie on the wall is a pretty big one. A lot of these look kind of different this year. We still had an MSU debut, but like Catapalooza all virtual, which was pretty cool actually, because each club edited their own video. And so it was kind of funny to see who had like a professional editor on staff and who didn't, and what they were showcasing and like what was interesting to them. You can still look at those too. So if anybody's interested in clubs, all of their club videos that they filmed for Catapalooza last year, or like I guess last semester, are still on our site on like the Flipgrid, which is the site that hosts all the videos. And so you can click through and see all the videos that different groups made. That was super cool, but like I said, right now, a lot of it was either virtual or distance. There was some like line dancing, Zumba, that kind of stuff over at the turf field. I think there was like costume Zumba at some point. But this is a big one for freshmen because it's really targeted towards integrating freshmen to campus, trying to get them engaged with their peers, their like academic disciplines or their cohorts. So making sure that they know people in their class or know people in their residence hall, as opposed to just like maybe knowing their close circle. And that's the main focus of all these events. Usually it's like their RAs dragging them to a bunch of them, as well as we post like the calendar on their doors. Yeah, the RAs know what they're doing. So we post their calendar on their door. And so it's really hard for them to not notice all of these events. And like the first week students are here, there's like an event every day. I think the first like 2 weeks at least, there's probably an event almost every single day. So we try to make it super hard for them to avoid these events, because the focus of these events are getting them super integrated with their discipline, their peers, their cohort, so that they stay here because they're so interested in their peers. This is the MSU debut video from 2019. Probably all seen it before because we try to show it off all the time.
Sorry to our freshmen who don't want.
Yeah. Can I hit the lights? Is there lights in here?
Yeah.
We're now Bobcat for life.
forward to do some community service with the school now that I just started. And yeah, just get involved. Hopefully continue doing it for the next 3 years.
But most importantly, and what tonight's all about, welcome graduating class of 2023 to the NSU Bobcat family.
I'm so emotional. It makes me so emotional.
So that's, that was on 2019. But, so that's what MSU Debut is trying to like enact with people, is getting them engaged, getting them involved, because if, as they were saying in the previous one, which I assume was AYCSS Financial Education, something like that, touched on at the end there though, students that are involved and students that are engaged with their campus communities are way more likely to complete 4 years here rather than not continuing their education. So that's the primary goal, is to get students get engaged, get integrated, have a better college experience because of it. And the biggest ones for this, for like orientation and stuff, MSU Debut happens like the first like 3 or 4 weeks, so it's right after whenever like, I don't know what orientation looks like this year, but I'm assuming.
MSU Debut will kick off on the 21st, which is the first move-in day, right? And it's gonna continue through for the first few weeks of school. But the big heavy stuff, like that you can anticipate, like Catapalooza or some kind of alternative this fall, would happen between the 21st and 24th. So those first 4 days.
Yeah, so that one's pretty big because it's like, I mean, at least historically, you're like leading groups to things while MSU Debut events are happening, like Catapalooza or Convocation might be a part of it and stuff like that. But student orgs, because that's a question that students always have, is like, where do I get involved? Do we have a club for this? Do we have a club for that? Who are the people who put on this? Who are the people who put on that? Events are a big one, because that's like all the fun stuff you get to do during college that's not academic, at least the fun, safe, and free stuff that we put on through the university. And then student government is a big one for certain students. Obviously, not a lot of people are integrated into student government just because it's a very small group of students. But everyone should be at least somewhat involved in voting for student government or interested in what they're doing. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, because I know not all of you, Chris, you following on Instagram?
Absolutely not.
I know. Let's scroll through all 6,000. We're like, it's not on here. Follow us there, and that's where we post all like cool pictures of videos and all our event stuff. And we got any questions? What we do? What's possible?
Yeah.
Another big one to hit is that all of the directors and people in our office are students. So if students are interested in like hosting sick events or managing volunteers for like service Saturdays or arts and exhibits. I didn't touch on our fee programs, but like arts and exhibits is a weird one because like they bring in national and international art exhibits to the exit gallery, as well as hosting like the fall and spring art market, where students actually make money for their art. But so like, if students are interested in kind of like a quirky or niche kind of like job or interest, they might actually have a job somewhere inside the office. Like comic artists, those guys are hired by the exponent, or like graphic designers. I'm literally always hiring graphic designers because for some reason they like to get real jobs and stop working for the university. I don't know what's up with that. So like we employ a ton of students and a ton of weird jobs in different like places all over the university. So a big one to hit on is student employment, just because people like getting paid. What's up?
Are the freshmen this year ever gonna do like?
So the freshmen this year, I think the like caveat to that was the, what is it called?
Mosaic.
The student, like photo mosaic, which students were encouraged to upload pictures to. It's on our site. It's still open for students to apply to like enter pictures into. That's like kind of like the caveat on that, really.
But
Yeah.
maybe, hey, if you go to Office of Student Engagement and express that that's an idea. you might get
Yeah,
one.
I mean, they're always looking for more stuff to do, so.
Yeah, we're all freshmen and we're like, that looks so much.
Yeah, I do feel kind of bad showing a video. 'Cause it's sick.
The sophomores next year should be included in the MSC Day.
Well, that's the thing, MSU debut is open to all years,
Yeah.
so you can attend anytime. I mean, it'd be weird if you weren't going to Catapalooza as a fifth year, because Catapalooza's sick. And you go every year because you get a ton of free stuff. But MSU debut and all of the events really, they may be targeted towards freshmen, like Rockin' the M or like any of the MSU debut events, but that does not necessarily mean that only freshmen can go. I don't think any of our events are specifically just freshmen.
Except for the M photo.
I'm not saying there's definitely not people I know who are freshmen in M photos previously. So if you wanna, hey, who knows, you might graduate in 5 years, so it might be your second freshman year, so.
There you go.
But, yeah, I encourage you to attend any events, even if you're not, in that same year. What's up?
Could you like add up the 19 for COVID-19 in the back, like how we did the 125?
The 125 was crazy.
It was a crazy community effort.
Yeah, it was wild. That was Chelsea's.
But bring it up to your representative of the Office of Student Engagement.
Yeah, literally, like I said, they're always looking for stuff to do, and they love when students like come in with like something they want to do, or like an event they saw another university do, and they want to see it here. Same with your student government representatives would love for their constituents to talk to them, and I would love for their constituents to talk to them. So feel free to always go bug them about cool things or bad things you see with the universities, including fun and photo picture ideas.
Round of applause for Nicholas. Every time I see it, it just gets better and better. Awesome. Okay, we only have a few minutes left in class, so I want to cover some housekeeping items before we go. We gave you guys a new syllabus. That doesn't mean that we've like wildly changed due dates or anything. Some of the changes were Lindsay's office hours. She switched some of her virtual hours to being in person. So the new hours are on there. The midterm exam, we pushed that back. It's due March 16th rather than the 11th. And we have swapped 2 presentations. So you still have outlines due on the same day that you normally would have, but we swapped what one we're doing first. So we're gonna do the nitty gritty in the next few weeks, and we're gonna end with campus and COVID, because we hope that by the end of the semester, we might have a better idea as to what some of the things are gonna look like. It is on D2L, I uploaded the new one, and then I also printed it out for you guys. Were there any questions about those changes, Taylor?
Where do we turn in the best of Bozeman outline? Because I didn't see a little.
I just probably haven't posted it yet, that's a great reminder, but it will be on D2L. Okay. Yeah, you got it. Early class registration. So one of the big perks of you guys being an orientation leader means that regardless of how many credits you have, you get to register for courses early. So that's a big one for some of our younger students. That probably bumped you up significantly. So if you're trying to schedule an appointment with your advisor in the next few weeks, I would mention to them, I have early registration, which means I can register as early as March 26th. So hopefully they fit you in before your registration time goes live. I asked the registrar's office today, it goes live at 6 a.m. So if you are the most eager beaver, it's not, it's 6 a.m. So if you're the most eager beavers, you can literally go on at 6 a.m. and register for classes starting March 26th. If you look in DegreeWorks right now, it might have a different time, but I contacted the registrar's office again today, so they're going to update it. So by the 26th, you guys will be able to register. If you run into problems with that, let me know ASAP and we can get you fixed up. Any questions there? All right, midterm survey. These are who have completed it as of 12:15 today. You don't see your name up there. You have until midnight tonight. Midnight tonight. Third day shirt survey. This is who has not completed it. So if your name is up there, that means you got something to do.
Why would you put Mitchell's?
That's because Mitchell watches the slides. Assignments. Midterm survey. You have until midnight tonight. Return group number 3 reflections are due March 11th. Midterm exam. Holly has posted the midterm. It went live today at 8, I believe. And it is open until midnight on the 16th, which means that you have a full week. Because it is available for a full week, I will not extend deadlines, okay? You have a full week. You could literally go home tonight and take it. We gave you guys 1 attempt, but with that, you can be in there for, I think it's an hour.
It's 2 hours.
2 hours.
Yeah.
So you guys have 2 hours to take it. It covers all of the materials up until end of class today. So there's questions that little Nikki Zetterberg just presented on. Yes. What?
How many questions on that?
22 questions, but some of them are multi-point questions. 50 point, yep, 50 points. So 22 questions, 50 points.
Are there multiple?
There are not very many. I don't think there are.
Almost
I was gonna say, I feel like no. I feel like a lot of them are right in. There are a few true or false, and there are ones that are gonna actually be what you guys encounter during orientation, right? So like, if a student comes in with this number of credits in this class, what would you recommend for them to register for?
But also don't stress about it. If you've been paying attention in class, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Like you will be fine if you've been paying attention, taking good notes, all that fun stuff. You'll be fine for the midterm. It's not hard. Just like make sure that you're
Well, I
paying
like
attention
to
all
think that you are applying all the things that you're learning.
Yes.
So
Yes.
some of the questions are a little bit more like taking it in. What have I learned?
Yeah.
I am applying this skill set. Some of them are things that we've reviewed in our review game. So to Lindsay's point, as long as you're paying attention, you should get it. But 22 questions, 50 points, you have 2 hours.
Everybody likes to throw fits about it.
Any questions about that? Okay. Best of Bozeman outline, I will post on D2L the submission, so you guys can post it there. We are practicing on Tuesday, the 16th, with some of the reps, and then it is going to be due on the 18th again at midnight. I've been working through your guys' academic 1 outlines because I'm trying to get those back to you, so I will get them back to you ASAP. The things that I want when you guys are writing this outline is I put this little italicized note. Write it as if your tech fails you and you can still cover all of the information. I don't necessarily on your outline want to say, read off of slide, do examples on slide. Like that's not necessarily what I want to see. If you are like in a dark room and you have a group of people in front of you, you should be able to talk for 40 minutes through academics 1 and still have examples and still be able to pull in and explain some great pieces and complex topics. Does that make sense? So it doesn't need to be, I know in the past I've kind of said like as if you were giving that speech, and it doesn't need to be sentence by sentence. It is okay if you do bullet points, but I want it to be like if you don't have a PowerPoint behind you, you can still pull out all of the info. Okay. And then very lastly, we'll do some snack packs. I don't know who won the last snack pack.
Yeah, who got it last time? I think I did.
Trisha.
Hell yeah.
All right, stand on it.
Stand up, stand up.
We're rolling.
I already won two.
Kristen, stand up.
What? I already won two.
You are getting graded on your class participation and everything.
I participate way more than most people.
Go ahead, Kristen.
Stacey, I think you've been skiing or snowboarding this season.
Nice.
Skiing or snowboarding.
Stacey, I think you've already got your return to regroup.
Return and regroup. You have 3.
Stacey, I think you've already done in service. At least 1, only 1.
If you've turned them in.
So if you've not done any, not if you turned them in, done 1.
Oh, okay.
So if you haven't done anything, sit down. They say like if you like Grey's Anatomy.
What?
They say like if you volunteer this semester.
Volunteer this semester.
They say like if you volunteer.
I think
this-
F just won.
Okay, cool.
While we're transitioning, I just sent out a grouping message. If you don't know what that is, come to me after class and I'll explain it. But it's going to be a communication method for all of us throughout the summer to give updates and also for like reminders for class, for memes, all kinds of fun stuff. So,
Love it.
cool. Thank you. Jen just sent an emoji. She's not even here. Oh, also, give us your college preference sheet before you leave, please, if you haven't already.
Stand back up. Snack, snack, snack. I hope we got some really bomb snacks for these.
They are good.
Well, if I would.
I'll do my best to qualify for the questions.
See, and there's a nice variety. There's a nice variety. I do try to get variety. Okay.
Okay.
That's good.
Stay standing if you've gone on a hike this semester.
Okay.
Stay standing if you've already met with your advisor.
In what context? Like as your advisor?
For registration.
You
There's no way.
You have two.
Stay standing if you've gone rock climbing this semester.
What the heck?
You win?
Unbelievable.
Kristen!
It's because I took him climbing.
Well done.
It's because you went with me.
That's not the only time.
Okay, very quickly, we gave you guys our quiz 3 back. There were a few that I just want to review for you guys before you take the midterm. The most commonly missed one. If you have a teaching major, such as mathematics teaching, who are they advised by? They are advised within their specific department. They are not just advised by the College of Education, Health, and Human Development. So if it's mathematics teaching, they would have been advised in math. So the answer is CLS. This is the most commonly missed one. What area of study would you recommend to a student studying engineering but is unsure of what discipline? General engineering is an intake major, kind of similar to pre-med, right? Where you can come in, you stay on track for your foundational engineering courses, you take physics, you take math, and it allows you to then declare into one of the specific engineering disciplines. COEX is for students that have a math placement level 3 or below, so level 300 or below. Those students can declare a major, right? So they're going to come in and they're going to say, I want to be electrical engineering, and they're going to be self-identified as COEX. General engineering is an intake major. Does that make sense about those two differences? Are there questions about those two?
You can't get a bachelor's in general engineering.
You cannot. Okay. Great question. Were there any of these other questions that you guys wanted to review or were confused about? Yeah.
The first one said 2 things in CAT course. I put the search bar and like the core drop down. I was confused by the wording of that one. I thought degree was maybe.
Yeah, so I think the question was name any 2 features that help students. So it could have been searching by course, searching by department, putting in a break, blocking a course, clicking the I to learn more about the options. We would have taken any for those. On the very back, if the student has 1,000+ schedules, what 2 features do we specifically want to recommend? The 2 answers for that one is you shuffle and you lock. Shuffle and lock.
That sounds like a
So that was kind of confusing between those 2, but we would have taken basically anything at the top on the first one and then shuffle and lock for the extra. What other questions do you guys need clarification on? Okay, we'll stick around if you want to talk any more about some of these questions. Otherwise, thank you. We'll see you on Thursday.
Also, Julie, I like to meet